Hey everyone, today I'm reviewing the book Threadwalkers by Joanna Volavka, and I actually have her with me here today to do a little author interview. Hey Joanna,
Hi,
how's it going?
it's going pretty well.
Thanks so much for being here on my
Yeah,
video.
I'm excited to be here.
I actually read this in one day. I haven't read novels in quite a few months. I actually failed my 2017 challenge. Threadwalkers has gotten me back into reading. I'm going to try 25 books again this year. Hopefully I can do it.
I failed my reading challenge last year too, which was also 25 books. But, like life happens, and 2017 was it was a lot.
Yeah,
It was kind of a doozy of a year. So,
it
yeah,
was.
I get it.
So Threadwalkers is a YA book having a lot to do with time travel. How would you explain your book?
The way that I kind of describe it shorthand to people is that it is sort of Back to the Future meets A Wrinkle in Time. And I kind of tried to find a sweet spot between those two types of things. So
Nice.
that was the intention.
Back to the Future in the sort of way the time travel works. I definitely thought of that. And then also Wrinkle in Time. It's got that not quite fantasy, but almost that sort of adventure type feel that book has, your book has as well. So those are like, you hit the mark. Perfect. So in Threadwalkers, the main character Miranda, she travels through time using these things called snags. And I was just wondering what inspired the snags in time and the Threadwalkers and the editors.
The original inspiration for snags and for the whole concept about time travel actually came from something slightly different. It was a thought experiment that I kind of played with myself. I am really into the looking for monster type of TV shows. I really like, let's go look for Bigfoot. Let's go look for the Loch Ness Monster. Let's go look for ghosts.
Nice.
And I was watching one of these looking for ghosts TV shows, and they all try to say that they're looking for evidence of the paranormal or cryptozoology creature, or whatever it is, using scientific methods, right? So I kind of thought to myself, well, what would it actually look like if you could explain this with physics or with from some other scientific standpoint? And
Okay.
with ghosts, what I was thinking was, well, the way that you think about ghosts, you're kind of seeing other people, but what if the ghost sightings we see are just places where there's been this little catch in the fabric of space-time? So, what if there is this little bit where, like, if you've seen this woman come down the steps over and over again, and the ghost always comes down the steps, well, maybe it's that place but at a different point in time, and you're
Okay.
just seeing it in a different point of time, and that's why you get the repetition. So that's where the idea of the Threadwalkers came from. And then, of course, the very next logical question is, okay, but then if you can go through to the other side, would you change things, and
Right.
why? And little changes in the past can have big consequences in the present or the future.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea of the editors came from.
And I like the sort of ethical questions you present in it. What is okay, what's not okay, who thinks it's okay, who doesn't, as far as editing time. I think that was really interesting. So as I was reading, I felt as if a lot of your characters have very distinct voices, and I could picture them so clearly in my head, like the Taylor and Bridget and Jake. And I was wondering if you could talk briefly about the process of creating those unique character voices.
So one of the things about my writing process is, as far as the characters go, when they come into my head, they're completely there. They're pretty fully formed. I can see them, I
Nice.
can hear them. So I really just have to translate the voice of them onto the page. Sometimes I even am bad about including physical descriptions in my first drafts because I see them so clearly that it doesn't
Uh-huh.
occur to me that everyone else can't see them as well. So I have to go back and add some of that later.
I really love that. I love characters, and I love very distinct, unique interesting characters and stories. That's one of my favorite things. So there are a few spoiler-centric questions that I have for you. So what I'm going to do for people watching who don't want any spoilers at all, but want to see the end of the video where there's some non-spoiler questions, I am going to put a little outline thingy that will let you know there are spoilers happening. If you don't want them, fast forward till that goes away and then continue to watch the video. If you don't mind, keep watching, but here it comes. Now we're in Spoilerland. Welcome to Spoilerland. Let's start this off. I like Spoilerland too. And I know people who have read the book will be in Spoilerland here with us. Okay, so I noticed you never make it 100% clear when Miranda is, and I was wondering if that was a deliberate choice.
It totally was. I think that it serves two purposes. The first one is that Miranda doesn't know when she is. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you might notice is she's almost never given any concrete dates when she's out of her own prime timeline. So she's really aware of what day it is and how much time has passed in her own original timeline. Yeah. But anytime outside of that, she's really not sure. The other thing is that it gives me a little bit of liberty to kind of play with things a little bit too.
Right.
Like it's also very freeing for a writer to not have it as strictly. Like I have a good idea of when everything is, but I can play with it a little bit.
Nice. So there were moments in the story that reminded me of River and the Doctor from Doctor Who. The sort of, have we met yet? Relationship that they have. There's so many characters that Miranda meets that the reader wonders, has she met them before? Have they met her before? When did they really meet for the first time? What's going on? When is all of this happening in their different timelines? I don't know. That's just a thought I had.
Yeah, that specific. Okay, so maybe not consciously. I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and I really love the idea of River and the Doctor meeting at different points in their timeline. I like that concept a lot. But I don't think I consciously thought of it while I was writing this story. So it might have had some influence somewhere in there. But yeah, I do. I like that idea, and I definitely... Miranda definitely has this linear timeline that she's very motivated by, and beyond the big goal of restoring her family and putting her life back together is this other, underlying goal of the way that her life is supposed to be, the way her timeline is supposed to be. It's very linear. She wants it fixed. Yeah. But not all of the characters necessarily live in a similar linear timeline as she does. Some of them may be in more fluid timelines, and it's sort of interesting to think about, how would you react if you met somebody that you already know but maybe they don't recognize you.
Like there's some characters that I have questions. I know you won't answer, but I have some theories about the kid who sets her free from that cell. And there's so many other little things, like when she gets certain objects and who sends them to her, and like when is there like duplicate things, and how that it's I have some theories. It's really interesting. I like how you've done that and how you have kind of hinted. There's clues, right?
There are totally clues. And for the kid in particular, I do leave all the clues there for you to figure out who he is. So in that one, you can figure it out just based on what's in the book. Some of the other stuff, it might be a little more vague. It might be a little more ambiguous. But yeah, that was kind of on purpose.
All right, we are about to exit the spoiler zone in 3, 2, 1. Hey, so I have a few more non-spoiler questions. What character in Threadwalkers do you relate to the most?
Oh. That's kind of a hard question. I think, and I'm sure a lot of writers would say this too, but there's little pieces of you in each of the characters because they all come out of your own head. But I think that the one that I relate to the most is Bridget.
Okay.
she gets just about the least amount of screen time of any of the characters. But I really relate to her, and there's a lot more to her than what actually comes up in the book. I wrote a lot of backstory for her.
Oh, cool.
But it's irrelevant to the plot, any of this other stuff. I just know a lot about her. I've thought about writing up some of her history and her story as bonus content on my website.
Ooh, I'd read that.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll add that.
I want to know more about Bridget. She's cool. I liked her character a lot.
Yeah, I like her too. And again, because it's not a spoiler because it has no bearing on the story whatsoever, but Bridget is a character that maybe isn't really quite in her correct timeline. So that's cool. Could be kind of interesting.
Ooh. Yeah, you have a vote from me to do that. That would be really awesome. Where can people find your book, and where can they find you online?
You can find the book at Amazon and on barnesandnoble.com. You can request it from your local independent bookstore too. And then you can find me pretty much anywhere that you Google me. I'm the only Joanna Volavka, and I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have a website, joannavolavka.com. So come say hi.
Awesome. And everyone, her links are in the doobly-doo. Check them out. Thank you so much, Joanna, for coming on my YouTube channel. Despite this whole small creator adpocalypse, end of small YouTube, whatever, this whole thing that's going on, I hope that people see this video, and I hope that people read your book because it's really wonderful.
Thank you. That's really kind of you.
If you've read Threadwalkers before, I would love to chat with you. So please let me know in the comments if you're excited to read it. If you've already read it, go read it. Go read it if you haven't. It's wonderful. Thank you, Joanna. You want to do the sign off with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Thanks for watching. Meow.